Good morning, everybody. I don't come to you and say these things because I'm being arrogant or I want to show off or anything like that. That's not the reason why I make these videos, and that's not the reason why I say these things. I say these things because historically Black women have been disregarded for their accomplishments, cast aside, ignored, maltreated. And we know that if we're honest with ourselves, that this is the sole result of racism and white supremacy that has overtaken the Black community throughout the African diaspora. And as a result of that, the intra race problems that we have, namely darkism, I call it darkism, and some people call it colorism. And that's why it's so important that, number one, more people know about who I am as a dark skin activist. And while I'm alive, not when I'm dead and gone, because that's the pattern of what happens. People love to praise a person's ideas, their fight, their struggle. They love to monetize off of it when that person is dead and gone. But when the person is alive, you shit on a person. You don't respect the person. And I'm not the first victim of this, and I certainly, unfortunately, will not be the last. Because there's countless other Black women, the real ones that have actually done the work, that have came before me, that have done work in various different areas of Black progress, that have not gotten their just due until they were dead. And other people have stepped in to write books, make movies, capitalize off of that person after they done did all the hard work, after they did the work. That nothing enrages me more. Nothing infuriates me more than people, vultures, because that's what they are, vultures. If you're waiting to after a person passes away to capitalize off of who they were and the work that they did, you are an extremely evil person. And to me, you have a special place in hell. Because why do that? What is the purpose and point of doing that? Well, that's a rhetorical question that I know the answer to. The honest and intelligent people already know the answer to that. And so, because I know all of this stuff about Black women and how we are mistreated and how people um, disregard us, our ideas and accomplishments, most of us while alive, and then capitalize and take from us. And it's not just Black women, it's also Black people in general. But I'm a Black woman that invented a movement that's being taken advantage of right now. And that's why I'm speaking on it. And so I come to you because I'm aware of this, and I'm breathing and I'm alive. And so I'm going to state my case. I'm going to let people know. I'm going to keep letting people know. Number one, Rashida Strober, you need to know who I am and the work that I've done and what I created. And number two, you need to financially support. And you say, some people say you're so arrogant saying that people should financially support you. Well, you're benefiting off of the work that I created. In addition to the fact that I actually do the work and need funding. So logically, it would follow then you should support financially. But because there's so much jealousy in the Black community, that's a factor right there. Because I'm pointing out some of the reasons why I'm not more well known and why I'm not financially as financially supported as I should be, even though I've done the work, even though I have the results. Jealousy, intra-racial jealousy, intra-racial racial jealousy is a big factor that affects the finances. That falls over also into the finances. And I don't know the extent of what it was like to, for example, be, a woman like Ida B. Wells dealing with other Black people in that time, namely women. I mean, we have an idea of how she was treated by the males. But I don't know if there was jealousy. I don't know. But what I do know is Black women don't get, the innovative Black women that actually do the work, we don't get the financial support. And I know that if I was a white woman, if I was a mixed race woman, if I was a biracial woman, there would be financial support. There are light-skinned women on YouTube right now that, whether they know it or not, they're utilizing the ideas that I created, but Black people are giving their financial support to them. And I'm very enraged. And then people have the nerve to try to come and tell me how to feel about it. And they want me to be quiet about it. And they think that because they say, oh, you're jealous, that's going to shut me up and stop me. No. That's going to add more fuel to the fire. And I'm going to keep calling it out. I'm going to keep talking about it. Because I want whoever is listening to this and whoever is honest and ethical and upright to understand this is how I've been treated as a dark-skinned Black woman who dared to create a movement to free myself from my oppression. A movement that was never heard of or thought of before. When I created the movement, not only did I initially get pushback, but people copied, plagiarized, and stole from my work. And these people are Black. I want as many people to know this as possible. And that's why I continue to come on YouTube and talk about this, because I'm not going to ever let it go. I'm not going to let people who came to my YouTube channel, who've gone to my website, who've read my books, who've emailed me, and I've given them advice and talked to them, these people turn around and take from my unique, original ideas about dark skin and colorism that they didn't care about prior to hearing of Rashida Strober, the dark skin activist, speaking specifically on darkism, not only speaking specifically on darkism, but actually creating a word to operationalize the unique struggle that dark-skinned people face. The thanks I get is being stolen from intellectually and deprived of monetary donations and things like that. This is what Black folks are doing to me. I can't necessarily blame, I can't blame necessarily white people for this one. We love to play the blame game where white people did this, they did that. Well, white people aren't doing this to me. They're not. If they were, I'll say it. I have no problem saying who's victimizing me, who's oppressing me. White people aren't doing this to me. It's Black people that's doing this to me. It's Black women who came to my channel, went to my website, read my books, and stole from my ideas. That's Black women doing that to me, as well as Black men. So I have to place the blame where it lies. And I have to also tell my story, because these people are going to continue to be unscrupulous and take and steal. So I have no choice but to there's two choices. I could sit back and do nothing and say nothing and allow it to continue. Allow these people to act like they created the darkism, colorism movement, or I can keep talking. I can keep fighting. I can keep telling the truth. I can keep telling the truth. Because the truth is what I have at my disposal. I don't have a lot of resources, but I have the truth. That's what I can give you. I have my honesty and I have my integrity intact. That's what I can give you. In fact, that's actually my greatest gift, to tell you the truth, to be honest with you. And so, who is Rashida Strober? I'm going to tell you who I am, because I got to keep talking, because I just expressed to you the reasons why, as a black woman, as a black dark-skinned woman who people historically shit on, who people historically take from, I have to be the own bearer of my truth. I have to be the own bearer of my history. So, Rashida Strober, let me start from the beginning. And some of you are actually very familiar with my actual origin story because you've taken the time to do your research and you're honest, decent human being. So who am I? I was born January 10th, 1978, St. Petersburg, Florida. Give me a second, y'all. In St. Petersburg, Florida, I have 5 brothers. The only girl. I was born into poverty. My mother was 23 and my dad was 53 when I was conceived. Both of them are dark skinned. Both of them did not have a high school education. My mom dropped out, I believe, in the 11th grade, and my dad the 8th grade, and they're about 30 years apart. And my dad went to the military, and my dad, his people were from the Bahamas. And my mom, her people were from Georgia, Pelham, Georgia. And the self-haters in my family, they love to go on and on about how my great grandma was a full-blooded Indian, and they love to talk about her long hair. And they're self-haters, and so they made comments about, well, at least you got her high cheekbones, but they're not saying that in a nice way. They're saying it in a way to say, I got the hair, or I got the good hair, or I got the skin tone. Look at my pretty skin. But okay, at least you got, you know what I'm saying? It's not in a nice way, and I'm not praising them for that. I'm just telling the truth about how it goes down. Growing up, I grew up in poverty. We was evicted more times than I could count. My mama used to do days work, which is going into white people houses on Snell Island, which is where she used to do most of the work, and asking them for work because she high school dropout. I believe that she did not really want a bunch of children because it was just so much work. I'm not trying to get so much into her story. I'm trying to tell mine, but I got to give you my origin story, where I came from. I believe she just, it was just, once she realized, oh, this is a lot of work, she wanted to do her own thing, and we do have different fathers. Me and my youngest brother got the same dad, but the other brothers, we all have different fathers. I can't tell you what was in her head, but I do know that my mama came from a two-parent household. And as I'm talking, I am hating on me because I asked for financial support. Well, I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm not gonna stop. The Cash App is $Rashida Lala, $Rashida Lala, $Rashida Lala. That's the Cash App. Please make a donation. My PayPal, you can go there, icecreamladydream@yahoo.com, icecreamladydream@yahoo.com. So I can't tell y'all what was in my mom's head having all these kids, but I do know that she did come from a and that's one of the most striking things that I've discovered about my own history. Um, Black women, like from my mama generation, my mama was born in 1954. So her parents, the Black people that gave birth to her, they had more intact families. You understand? My grandma was married. Again, a two-parent home. My grandma did not receive public assistance. My great grandma did not receive public assistance. Okay. They actually worked. And the Black man and the Black woman came together and pooled their resources and did what they had to do. Understand me. I'm talking about the generations that gave birth to children born in like the 50s and the 60s. Those Black women was on their shit. They didn't need nothing from nobody. Okay? In fact, Black women weren't even allowed. If you go research the history of welfare, you will know that Black women weren't even allowed to get welfare. It was called a mother's pension, and that was for white women. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. So like I said, the Black women could not even get public assistance. It was meant for white women. So Black women was natural hustlers. You understand what I'm saying? They was getting their money. Thank you for that Cash App donation. I appreciate that. I really do. Cookies and Milk, I don't think you mind if I say your name. But Black women wasn't even allowed to get public assistance. The mother's pension. You don't believe me? Go Google it. The mother's pension. In fact, I'm online right now, Googling it right now. It wasn't meant for Black women. That was the mother's pension was the origin of AFDC food stamp programs and stuff like that. And it was for white women who were widows. You know, they became poor. They had children. Perhaps their husbands was in the military and passed away. But the bottom line is, this was not for Black women. So what does that mean? That meant Black women was natural hustlers. They was doing their thing. And my grandmother and my great grandmother, may they both rest in peace, came from that era of Black women that did not depend on welfare benefits, and they worked. My grandmother worked for Georgia Power. She lived in Pelham, Georgia. She worked for Georgia Power for years. She was married. She had a husband. That's where my mama came. So, but my mama came of age with the civil rights. She was born in 1954, and they had a different set of standards. Once Black women could get access to welfare programs, that was a game changer right there. That was a shout out to Game Changer. He's my voice crush. Shout out to Game Changer. Y'all, I know y'all like, what the hell Game Changer got to do with this? Some of y'all know who Game Changer is. But I mean, he's my voice crush. I like the way he talks. I do. I'm not gonna tell y'all no lie. He speaks what Black people would say proper, and they be hating on Black people that speak properly. Y'all need to stop. But I do like his voice. I'm not gonna tell you no lie. Thank you for your donation, Cookies and Milk. I like your name though. I do. Cookies and Milk. But yeah, when Black women were able, unlike my grandmother and my great grandma, when they was able to get access to that welfare, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I think you should help people. I think in any capitalist economy, you're gonna have you're going to have to do something to help the poor because of the inherent inequality in capitalism. You're not going to be able to escape some form of socialism, and people don't seem to understand that. You can't escape it within a capitalist economy. All you need to do is study just a little bit of history, study a little bit of the political economy of different capitalist societies, and you will begin to understand there's always a socialist or egalitarian component. So I'm not against it. Understand me. I mean, if you look back at, for those of you that are familiar with Roman history, I told y'all my bachelor's degree is in history, and my master's degree is in political science. So that is why I will occasionally or off the cuff start making references to something to do with politics or some historical process, because that's just the way my brain is wired. Dang, y'all. I wish my battery is all messed up here. Please don't go dead while I'm talking. So, shoot, hold on, y'all. Here we go. So if you look at the patricians, who were the upper class and the plebeians, you can go back to Rome and you can see the origins of a socialist state within an economic hierarchy, because the patricians in Rome were the upper class, they were the wealthy folks, and the plebeians were the lower classes, and they had to make, the patricians that is, had to make concessions. And it's no different than the United States government making concessions of welfare to its people. It's the same thing. History repeats itself. This is why I'm a lover of history, because you can find patterns and you can begin to understand why the hell are we the way we are, which is the whole reason why I studied history. I want to understand why the hell are people treating each other like this? What the hell are we getting this from? Y'all give me a second here. I gotta make a quick important call. Give me a second. Don't go nowhere. Make sure y'all donate. Don't go nowhere. I'm coming. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. I apologize for the brief delay. And it's like every time I come on here and start talking to y'all and want to say what I need to say, there's always these distractions, and I'm just like, really? Are people like watching me go live and start calling me and stuff? Like, I don't like that, but I want to apologize for that. But and I might not get all my story out there. I'll come on here and make a part two if I need to. But that's basically, my mama, dark skin, dad, dark skin, 30 years apart. My mama, her dad, her mom and dad was together for years, firmly intact. They didn't I left off on the welfare stuff. Talk about the welfare. The independence ended with my grandma generation. That's what I want to say. It ended with my grandmother's generation. My grandma ain't get no food stamps. My grandma ain't get no welfare. My grandma ain't get none of that. It ended with, but my mama coming of age after the civil rights movement, being a young woman in I believe the 70s, 54, 64, 70. Yeah, she's 20 and 74. That was like right there during the civil rights movement. Okay, coming of age like that, she and other black women just like her took advantage of the welfare system. That's what happened. They did. And I'm not saying this to like be mean. I'm not saying this to be mean, because before I took a pause, I explained to y'all the historical factors regarding people in capitalist countries, in capitalist economies, that there's going to always be egalitarian socialist components. And I gave y'all the example of it started way back in the Roman Empire. If you do your research, it started way back with the patricians and the plebeians, where they made concessions because the plebeians saw that the patricians was getting money. They was getting money. They was middle class. They was landowners, and they're like, "What's going on here? What's going on here?" And in order for the plebeians to not get it popping, the patricians decided to make some concessions. They decided to make some concessions. So it's a historical precedent that was set. That's just one example. That's the one that pops out in my head, the most. Back when I was a graduate student, I took history of the Roman Empire class, and I found it fascinating. I still have the book to this day. So my mama took advantage of that, and she, started having a bunch of children out of wedlock. Unlike my grandma that came before her. And shout out to you, Nicole McMillan. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name. And she started having all these kids, and started taking advantage of welfare, and that retarded the development of my family and countless others. It retarded my development in so many ways because of what I didn't realize is it would be an upward fight to get out of poverty. Unlike my grandma and my mama, my grandma and my great grandma, who were property owners, worked, had their husbands. It was a different ball game and precedent that my mama set, because I didn't see that with her. Like, it changed. And I honestly wish that Black people would have maybe found another way, maybe kept on the trajectory of people like my grandmother and my great grandmother, and kept doing what they was doing, because it was working. You have to realize that during Reconstruction, after slavery, we didn't have this stuff. So what the fuck? We didn't have it. We were surviving. We didn't have it. Be mad all y'all want, but the truth is, we didn't have these welfare. We didn't. Facts. If people needed help, they went to the church, or they went to societies in the community that assisted people who were in poverty. So that let me know, I just feel like it broke our hustle. And I feel like people like my mama made it 10 times harder for my generation and those after by accepting and succumbing to these types of programs. And there's this love-hate relationship that I have, because while I know and understand that, like I said, in a capitalist society, you may need this stuff, but still, it's like, dang, when I look back at my grandma and my great grandma, I'm like, these women were true independent women, bosses. They were. I can't, with all due respect, I can't look at my mama in the same vein. I can't do it. It's more difficult to do. It's a different perspective that I have. And my dad was like, do for self, because he was in the NOI for 30 plus years. My dad was like the total opposite, go-getter, charismatic. I do have an Instagram account, but I don't really use the Instagram account like that. But I do have it though. If you want to go on there and follow me on Instagram, I'm on Facebook and stuff. But yeah. So my dad was like, his personality was totally different. Being he was in the Nation of Islam, the black Muslims, and to this day they still have the mentality, do for self, do for self, do for self. That's how they roll. And I saw my dad growing up. I seen my dad selling the Final Call newspaper. I seen my dad engaged in various types of entrepreneurial pursuits. And it was like a difference between the way that my mom operated and my dad operated. And I wasn't living with my dad. And Ho and Pro TV, my Instagram is Rashida Strober, and my Facebook is Rashida Marie Strober. Rashida Marie Strober. So my dad, I just saw a difference there, and my dad was trying to better my mom. He really was. After he came into the knowledge of Islam and became a Muslim, he was trying to better. You're so welcome, Ho and Pro TV. He was trying to better her, and she couldn't see it because she hadn't undergone the level of education. And I'm not talking about the education from a university. I'm talking about the education that my dad was privy to. Because you got to remember, he was around. My dad was born in what? He was born. He was like 1930s. I told you my mom and dad had a 30-year age gap. She was 23. He was 60. He was 53 when I was conceived. So he was born around the time of Malcolm X, and he was very well respected in the Muslim community. He set up the first mosque in St. Petersburg. When his funeral came, I was 22 years old, and I was like shocked when I seen all these people come to my dad's funeral. It was like shocking to me, like, whoa, they came from all over the United States. That church was packed, no lie. And to this day, I have people that knew my dad. They call him Captain Sam. People from all over the country. That was his impact that I hear from, and they'll be like, tell me about how he had a great impact on their life. And that does my heart well, because my dad was just a good person, a nice, kind, charismatic person that really loved black people. And he was everybody. Even when I was like a teenager, I would see go up to Mr. C's. I see people flocking around him. They would come up there just to see him. Like, them people loved his man. Like, seriously, y'all. So I grew up seeing that, and at times I wish that my mom, because my dad did want to marry my mama, but she, after having 2 kids from him, I don't understand. I don't get this part. I'll never be able to understand. She's not transparent at all, so she's not going to tell me. She did not want to marry him because she said that she said that he was too old. Like, what the? But you don't say this after you had 2 kids with the man. Now he's too old all of a sudden. What? And my oldest brother told me how his life changed when my dad came in the picture. My dad taught him how to be a man. Just, had such a positive impact. The house was clean. There was food. He was working. He saw a working man. My dad just changed the game for my eldest brother, who was telling me stories because he was there before all of us. And he knew how my dad was before I was born, because my mama was with my dad. And he tells me these stories that are fascinating, and I love hearing them, because it gives me a window into who my dad was as a person, And I was like, he was old, could barely see. When I became teenager, 20s, my dad was old. I was helping him to see sometimes. At one point, he stopped driving. And I remember when I was trying to enroll myself in school, my mama wouldn't help me. I went around there. I know I'm jumping around, but I'm giving y'all my story. I mean, y'all got to take the bits and pieces. There's no rhyme or reason here. I remember when I was wanting to go to college. I had just got my GED, and my goal was I was going to better myself. I was going to school. And I realized, because I was under the age of 24 and I didn't have any children, I had to go off of my parents' financial information. I believe it's still that way to this day with the Pell Grants and stuff. And so I remember going to my mom's house and saying, hey, I need your financial information so I can complete this financial aid application. And she wouldn't even help me. She wouldn't help me. She was like, she basically did not want to be bothered. She did not want to help. I was on my own. Conversely, I went to my dad, and that man could barely see. He wasn't driving at the time. And he used to live in these apartments for elderly that the white folks done came and pushed all the black people out. That pisses me off, makes me very angry. They pushed all of them out, turned these places into very expensive apartments now, condos, apartments, whatever, where all the elderly black people used to live and some of the disabled people used to live. And they sat there and they pushed these black people out. But my dad said, come on. And we caught the bus from Webb Plaza, me and him. We got on the bus. And my dad went down there to that Social Security office. We got on that bus. He was so pleasant to be around. He's the reason why I still love black men, because he gave me that example. Anyway, me and him, we made a day of it. We got on the bus. He had his cane. You couldn't barely see him, walking with my dad, holding him up, make sure he was straight. We on the bus talking, having a grand old time. I was just happy as hell to be with him. And we went to the VA office because he was a veteran. And we went to the Social Security office, and he got all that paperwork. It took a whole day. My dad went and got that damn paperwork for me. I never forget it. I was able to start my college career. He got that paperwork. Love him to death. And we went and did what we had to do. My mama wouldn't even help me. That lady wouldn't even help me, y'all. I'm not even making this up. I don't lie on nobody. I always tell the truth. Whether I like you or dislike you, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth. Okay. And so, that's how I ended up. I was able to enroll myself. But before all that happened, I had been homeless and all this kind of stuff. And my light-skinned best friend, who these people come online, they be stealing my story. They be listening to me, and they be stealing from me, these dark-skinned women that want to talk about colorism. Instead of them being original and supporting me, they come and steal from my life story. They read my books and they steal. They take. And I'm angry about that, because you didn't live my life. Why are you on here stealing from what I done been through? You didn't go through the blood, sweat, and tears. But my light-skinned best friend, Shamina, and her mom, Vita, may she rest in peace, I was living with them after a bout of homelessness, because I kept being homeless. And Shamina and her mom, they gave me a place to live. And my dad said, it was a check that you get when you are a child of a veteran. My dad went down there. Again, we got on our little bus trip. And he was so pleasant. Everybody liked this handsome, gregarious, dark-skinned man. He's so handsome, so neat, always looked good. And I was so proud to just be with my dad in his presence. I was like the happiest person in the world. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was on cloud nine. And we went to the VA office, and he was so responsible. That's another thing. That's why I say he went down there, me and him, because my mama wouldn't allow. She was on there doing all kind of evil stuff. Me and him went down there. We went to that VA office, and he sat there and charmed the people there. And I just sat there. I ain't say nothing. I was just sitting back watching, taking it all in. Got that paperwork going. Next thing I know, I was getting my little stipend, and I was going to college. My dad did that for me. He sure did. I'ma always respect him. Nobody can turn me against my dad. I don't give a damn what nobody say. I know what me and my dad did, and I know he was old doing this, and he could barely see, and he got up and he still made that move, and he did it. He did not make excuses, as like my able-bodied mama. Oh, I don't feel like being bothered. That's why I say the welfare system messed us up. All that hustle that my great-grandma had and my grandma had, gone. You want to lay around the house, you don't want to do nothing, you have these children, you don't want to take care of them, they're a bother to you. None of that, the complete opposite. Saw me as an asset, saw me as someone that was bright and intelligent and had something to give to the world. And being around him, I felt that. I could feel it. I could feel the energy. And he was always positive and a mental fighter. And that's probably where I get my fight from. He didn't talk that shit like I do, but it's his actions. He's like a fighter. Some people are quiet with their fights. They ain't got to do all that talking. They just go and do what the fuck they got to do. And bitches back up. They back up. They back the fuck up. That's how my father was. And I watched him growing up, and I seen it. He's always finding a solution to whatever problems that I had within his power. And he was elderly. That's the thing. This man was old. You got to realize he wasn't no 20-something, 30-something. He was old doing all this. This is why I don't give passes to people that don't take care of their kids. If my dad was able to get up, barely able to see, and do all this stuff, why can't people that are able-bodied and you got the energy, you get your ass up too? Get your ass up too. So, yeah, y'all. So, okay. So at that point right there, y'all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end it right here because I do have some errands I got to run. But I am going to come back on here with a part 2 of this because I got a lot to unpack. I got a lot to say. My story is when you're born into this world, you're a movie. You're a book. You're a story. That's just what it is. Everybody's writing their own book, their own story. So I got a lot to say. Also, I want to let you know, if you make a donation and you send me your email, you got to send me your email. If you make a donation in any amount, I will send you an electronic copy of my book, A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge, that motherfuckers be stealing from. They're not the dark-skinned activists. They're stealing from me. They want to be me. They didn't start the movement. Rashida Strober started the first movement in history to fight to get rid of dark-skinned discrimination, to fight to get rid of colorism, to fight to get rid of darkism. And darkism is a word that I created. I also wrote the book Darkism. But I'm going to get into all that. I ain't done yet. If you donate, I will send you a copy of my book, A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge. My Cash App is $Rashida Lala, $Rashida Lala. Once again, $Rashida Lala. Please go and make a donation. Make a donation. Make a donation. I need your donations. Sora, I wasn't able to answer your question earlier. I don't see it, but I gotta get out of here. But you said, Rashida, do you think dark-skinned Black women avoid strength training because of darkism? Yeah, but I've addressed that. Dark-skinned women being physically strong and people being jealous of them and trying to rob us of our femininity because of that, like they do Serena Williams. I've addressed that. But I will address that again when I get a moment, but because I do have to get up out of here now. But yes, like this video, share this video, make a donation, go to my website. My website is darkskinactivist.com, darkskinactivist.com. Once again, darkskinactivist.com. I'm the originator of the entire colorism lane. Everybody's copying me that's talking about it. They're not giving me credit. They're stealing from my work, my historical legacy, but I'm going to keep talking. Once again, make a donation. The Cash App is $Rashida Once again, $Rashida Once again, that is $Rashida You can also go to my GoFundMe, and I'm going to drop that in the chat. You can Google Rashida Strober GoFundMe. My goal is to get to, the short-term goal is to get to $12,000. I'm about $748 away. So go make a donation. You can go hit the Cash App. You can hit the GoFundMe. Go make a donation. Do not just sit here and watch me and listen to me and learn from me. When you know I put in the work, go make a donation. I need financial support. Go make a donation. And I want to say thank you, big, fat, huge thank you to every single person that have made a donation already. I'm very, very appreciative. I want you to know that I'm extremely appreciative and grateful to you all. When the spirit hits me, I will come back on here and I will be talking to y'all again, and I will continue on with telling y'all my story. Thank you for listening, donating, liking, sharing. The world's first and only dark-skinned activist, Rashida Strober, the creator, the inventor, the designer, the architect of the very first platform in history to fight to eradicate colorism and darkism. And the platform is called Dark Skin Activism. And I am the world's first and only dark-skinned activist.